You've probably spent a few evenings scrolling through endless specs, wondering if the next cooktop you put on the line will actually make your daily routine smoother or just become another piece of metal you stare at while you're trying to get dinner on the table. The fear of splurging on a pricey appliance that ends up collecting crumbs, looks dated in a month, or forces you to change the way you cook is real. That's why I'm going to walk through the LCG3091ST, a 30-inch stainless steel gas cooktop with sealed burners, and focus on whether it truly earns its reputation for reliability, ease of living, and value for money without getting lost in a laundry list of technical jargon. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, let's talk about the kind of kitchen where this unit belongs. It's designed for a standard 30-inch countertop, so if you're remodeling a mid-size family kitchen or upgrading a rental where space is fixed, this is the size you'll actually fit. The sealed burner design is the big headline here, and it changes the day-to-day experience in a few noticeable ways. Because the burners are sealed, there's a continuous cast iron grate that sits above the gas ports, meaning that any spill or splash lands on a flat surface rather than slipping between burner heads. In real life, that translates to less time scrubbing around tiny crevices after a sauce explosion, and more confidence when you're tossing a stir-fry or simmering a sauce that tends to boil over. Now, the UltraHeat center burner puts out 19,000 BTU, which is a lot of power for a single ring. If you've ever tried to bring a pot of water to a boil for pasta or need a rapid sear on a steak, that central zone really cuts down on waiting time. I've seen a few friends who love the speed, especially when they're cooking for a crowd and need multiple pots going at once. The trade-off is that the UltraHeat ring sits in the middle, so you have a bit less flexibility on the outer rings when you're using a large wok or a wide sautepan that needs that high flame. In practice, most home cooks won't notice a problem unless they regularly do restaurant-style stir-frying on gas. The blue LED backlit knobs are another small but handy feature. In a dimly lit kitchen at night, you can see exactly which burner you've turned on without squinting, and the soft glow adds a touch of modern aesthetics. It's not a deal-breaker, but it does eliminate that moment of hesitation when you're reaching for the right control in a dark room. Let's get into who should actually consider this model. If you already love cooking with gas because you like instant heat adjustments, the visual cue of a flame, and the ability to keep a pan hotter than an electric coil, then the LG sealed burner design will feel like a natural upgrade. It's also a solid pick for households that do a lot of one-pot cooking. Think soups, stews, and braises that benefit from a steady, even flame without the worry of food seeping under the burner. The continuous cast iron grates mean pots sit firmly, reducing the chance of wobble when you're whisking or sautéing. On the other hand, if you're a fan of wok cooking that requires a high, open flame on the side, you might find the sealed design a little restrictive. Traditional open-type burners let you slide a wok right up to the edge, catching that intense heat. With sealed burners, the grate creates a barrier, and while you can still wok, the heat distribution isn't as concentrated on the outer ring. Likewise, if you're looking for a cheap entry-level cooktop because you're on a tight budget, the LG LCG3091ST sits in a higher price tier compared with basic gas models that lack sealed burners and the UltraHeat ring. The upfront cost may be justified by the long-term convenience, but it's something to weigh. In terms of practical strengths, the biggest win is cleanup. Because spills stay on the flat grates, you can usually wipe them away with a damp cloth once the surface cools. The continuous cast iron material is tough. It doesn't warp under heat, so the surface stays level over years of use. The sealed burners also help with safety. There's no open gas ports for crumbs to fall into, and the flame stays neatly within the burner housing, which is reassuring if you have kids around. The blue LEDs are low power but stay bright, so you're not fumbling in the dark. Now for the practical downsides. The sealed design means you can't lift the burners out for a deep clean. If food does manage to get under the grate, you'll need to pull the whole grate off and clean it from the bottom, which can be a bit of a chore if you're not used to it. Also, the installation requires a professional gas line hookup. You can't just snap it into an existing electric outlet. That adds to the total cost, especially if you're